Welcome back to Al's Arcade. How you all doing, guys? Hope you're well. It's good to be back. And we got a fantastic video for you this week. We really have. We're making up for the live video that I couldn't upload last week because I had pop music running in the background. But hey ho, never mind. We'll be back doing live videos very soon again. But in this video, I thought we would do a channel update really and a pickups video. Got a lot to show you, got a lot to talk about. There's been changes in my arcade, new games come in, talk about some that are going out that I've sold, and yeah, just a general update on what's been happening. So first of all, just want to mention, as you can see on the big screen here, Atari's iRobot running. It's running on the compilation that Atari did, Atari 50. Because, I don't know if you saw recently, but the new Atari company, I've just put out a trailer for a new game of iRobot created by Jeff Minter. Now, I kind of knew about this last year because I met Jeff Minter at an event when I was representing the Arcade Archive. I had a couple of cabs there. I think I had Archie McLean's Millipede, and he come up and started to chat to me about arcade games. And I just said to him, "Are you working on any new games?" Because he has been doing new games for Atari. I say new games, revisiting old games and regurgitating them and making them look cooler, adding new stuff to them. And I said to him, it would be really cool if you revisited Atari's iRobot, because that's a game I remember from back in the day. And he looked astonished that I kind of mentioned that. He looked at his partner as if to say, how did he know? Because that's what they were working on, but they couldn't tell me. So I think this is an ideal game for Jeff Minter. I think he's going to do a fantastic job. I'm really looking forward to it because it's a game that I played as a kid. It's a game that was way ahead of its time when it came out. It didn't do very well. I think they only made 500 cabinets, so it's an extremely rare game. So not many people have played it. And when people mention iRobot, they think of the film with Will Smith. But, you know, this was an Atari game and one of the first games to have polygon graphics. So I'm really looking forward to that. I really, really am. But I have been playing other games as well. I've got a PS5 down there. I've been playing Vikings Valhalla, which my son got me for Christmas. And down here, as you can see, I've got my PS5, my Marantz amp, and various other controllers, arcade sticks like the Sheikah arcades for the Super Nintendo. What a beautiful arcade stick that is. I love playing SNES games on that. And I've actually moved my turntable. It was directly underneath the TV, which kind of got in the way when I lifted the lid up and was swapping vinyl around. It was kind of getting in the way. So I moved it over here where my Vectrex used to be. And the Vectrex is now over in this corner. But to make it fit, I've had to make a makeshift shelf. It's very makeshift. Ignore my carpentry skills, guys. They're really rough. You know, I got called the wood butcher at work because it was so bad at carpentry. I work with masonry. I'm really good with masonry, but wood's not my forte. It really isn't. But you know what? It works. And as you can see at the moment, I'm running the Vec Fever cart. The Vectrex is horizontally positioned to play Black Widow, which is super cool. One of my favourite twin stick shooters. And I'm using Vertvic's twin stick, which works brilliantly with this game. What a fantastic game Black Widow is. It really is. If you haven't experienced Black Widow, I recommend you downloading. Actually, it's on the Atari 50. You can play it on there. And they've actually done a new version of Black Widow as well, which is really good. But I still enjoy the original version. And this is great because, you know, before I had to have the arcade sticks on my lap, which I never liked. And now I can have it directly underneath the Vectrex because I've got this cocktail machine here, which is on loan. I've loaned this from my friend Adrian just to see if I could fit a cocktail in this room. And it fits perfectly. And as you can see, it's Nishibitsu's Mooncrester. And can you believe it? I didn't know that the control panel on this cocktail is UV reflective. How cool is that? Super cool. How many of you know or knew that this was UV reflective? It just makes the cabinet so much nicer. It's a great game, but I don't love the game. So I'm going to move this on. This is actually up for sale. So if you're interested, let me know. It is a great game, but there's other games that I would rather have than Mooncrester. And I can think of a few Nintendo ones, actually. So this is all new, this area. I've changed things up a bit. It's nice having a desk. I use this for my podcasts, putting my computer on there, putting arcade sticks on the cocktail. It just works perfectly. It really does. And then I've moved all my Vectrex games closer to the Vectrex. They were behind me. The New Wave toys are still there. Just moved them along a bit. And I've made new storage for my PCB collection, which we're going to get into a bit later, because I used to have them stored in these boxes, anti-static boxes, which are great because you can put the marquee on the boxes and you can see what game it is, but they take up so much room. They really do. So I've moved them and wrapped them in this kind of, it's like aluminium foil, but it's bubble wrap as well. And they're great for protecting PCBs. They really are. And I've got a label maker as well, so I can see what games they are, labelled them all up. So I've moved them all under there, because the PC collection has grown somewhat. It really has. And then over in this corner, I've now moved all my consoles over here, because it just works better with them all together. So I've got my Super Nintendo, the Super Famicom Twin, the NES, the Mega Drive, the PC Engine and the Sega Saturn. That's all I need, guys. I don't need any more. And of course, let's not forget the Spectrum. That gets plugged in every now and again. But I would like a 21-inch TV, either another Sony Trinitron or B&O. Because I think if you're going to have that many consoles linked up to something, you want to display them on the biggest screen, really, without getting ridiculous. So a 21-inch would be perfect over here. Over here, not much change. Well, I say not much change in the console gaming area. I've got lots more games, lots more pickups, which we're going to get into. I will just mention that I've got these stands from my friend Jumpman. Do you remember I did a game room tour of Jumpman? He gave me these stands, which are awesome. You can put Switch games on them, Mega Drive, anything you want. And they look great when they're displayed. And with a lot of the Switch games, I've now got spines made up. My friend Paul Buller made these up for me. And now I can see what games I actually have. I found it very difficult seeing what games I have with all of them in these red spines. I just didn't like that as a display point. I don't know, maybe it's my OCD, but I just like artwork everywhere I can get it, basically. And here now you can see you've got artwork on all of the games that Hunt Down. Just looks so much better. They're just little slips that you just slide in between the case, which looks super cool. So we're going to get into a few of the pickups later, but let's just have a look at the arcade section of the room. The Neo Geo is now fixed. Mark did a fantastic job fixing the monitor on that. So I'm running, at the moment I've got Project Neon, NAM 75, Viewpoint, and what's the other game? I can't remember. Metal Slug. Metal Slug's running in there. But I am still on the lookout for a front-loading Lord's Vale. Because I broke my arm a few years ago, I find it very difficult pulling this cabinet out and swapping the games around. I would much prefer a Lord's Vale where I can get to it from the front, as well as the button layout. I'm not a fan of this button layout. What were they thinking when they made this button layout? Right angle. It just doesn't work, because really your finger, your index finger, needs to be an inch longer to fit. Or why don't you, if you had any intelligence, move that button closer to here, which they did do on later versions. So that's the version of the Lord's Vale I'm looking out for, and then I'll probably move this one on. But it does get a lot of play. I love the Neo Geo. And of course, these Atari cabinets, these cabarets are beautiful. These are staying with me. I love these. Tempest and Centipede. What fantastic games. Over here, I've got Konami's Jackal running original hardware. This is the Japanese ROM, which is different than the World ROM, because you can actually fire in all directions in the Jeep, whereas the World ROM, you can only fire upwards. And I actually prefer the Japanese ROM. So that's an original PCB running there. Great game. Very methodical game. You've got to take your time. which I like. You know, you don't rush that game. And here we've got Capcom's Section Z. What a fantastic game this is. I'd never played this before until me and Tony did it in the last video. I'm really enjoying this. In fact, I've chosen this for our monthly challenge on the 10 Pence Arcade podcast. So if you don't follow the podcast, I'll put a link in the video below. It's, you know, it's a monthly podcast where we talk about arcade games and do a monthly challenge. And I've chosen this game for our monthly challenge. It is an underrated gem. It really is. Such a great game. Going to really look forward to playing that for the challenge. Then over here, this little corner, I've now got me Dirty Donny poster up. Remember the last one was ripped. That's all framed. It looks awesome. In fact, there's, you know, if you can't see this on film, but if you stare at that long enough, it actually looks 3D. There's some depth to it. Like the stars in this arcade machine are like further away. You won't be able to see it on film, but I can see it. It's an incredible piece of art. So cool. Then over here I've got my Astra Blaster finally working, my Bomber's working, and in the Bomber I'm running a Pi, which my friend Paul Higgins set up for me. And I'm playing this game called Batlantis. Have you played this? We're going to play this later. It's a really good game. Really good game. So it's lovely to see these two cabinets working in this corner. And then on this side, excuse all the mess down here, this is all stuff I've got to sell. I've got Nad's Berserk. This is something that was in the arcade archive. I've got to return that to him. I've got my Track and Field and Rescue. Defender's not here at the moment. I haven't got rid of it. I finally got the chassis back from the arcade archive. I've got to say thank you to Richard for finding that for me. Well done, mate. Mark's working on Defender now, so hopefully I'll have that up and running again soon. Love Defender, but it also means that I'll have space for 2 more machines in here because I am selling Track and Field. Now don't get me wrong, I do love Track and Field. I love it to death. In fact, I've played it to death. But it's not one of those games you play on your own. You know, it is a party game, or at least a 2-player game. And I don't have friends over enough to warrant having this game. I think it needs to be somewhere where it's constantly being played by many people. But, you know, I've got other games that I want to get in here that I've been after for a while. More desirable cabs. I wouldn't say Grail, gets overused Grail, but games that I've desired for a long time now in here, which hopefully I will get this year. So that's it, really. Stern's Rescue will never go. That's one I played back in the day. But yeah, that's the arcade, as you can see. Good look round. Oh, I don't know what's happening with the marquee. It's going mental. It does that. Some of these cheap LEDs do that. I don't know why. But guys, we're going to sit down now and yeah, we're going to do pickups, we're going to do shout outs, we're going to look at how we wrap these PCBs as well as loads of other stuff. Right, so there you go. That's a little bit of an update on what's been happening in Al's Arcade. But we've got plenty more stuff to get through, guys. So much stuff. Loads of pickups here. And I also just want to talk about how I wrap my PCBs, because I've had a few people ask me, Alex, what is that stuff you're using? I want to get some for mine. Because it's great. It really is. So originally I was storing my PCBs in these boxes, which are great. If you've got a space and you don't have a huge PCB collection, I think I can totally recommend these. They're not cheap. They come with anti-static foam, which protects the PCB. And I just got Muddy Music to make up at the Arcade Art Shop a marquee for me, which looks great. But guys, they take up so much space. In fact, I could only fit 5 of these in the area now that I've got 20 in. So that's the difference. And not, you know, my PCB collection's grown somewhat since then. So I don't know what I'm going to do with them boxes. I'm holding on to them for now, but I probably will at some point move them on. Because I'm finding this way of storing the PCBs perfect, absolutely perfect. And then I just got a little label maker. Let me see that. Here's the little label maker. It's a little app you download, you type in what you're going to write, and then it spews it out the end there, and then you just stick it to your labels, which is great. And then I've got here some frog tape, which is low tack tape, so you can just peel it off. I mean, I don't know how many times the tackiness is going to last, but it's probably the only tape out there that's not going to pull it apart when you rip it off, when you take it off. So it's like a low tack tape, frog tape, which painting decorators use for covering up stuff they don't want to paint over. But yeah, this aluminium foil is what plumbers use on boilers and lagging pipes. It's great. It's padded. It's aluminium, so you're not going to get any static interference on these PCBs whatsoever. It fully protects the PCB. So I'm going to show you. I recorded this weeks ago because I knew someone was going to ask me, but I got the idea. It's not my idea. I got it from an idea from my friend Lee, Monster Mug. I'll put a link in the video below. He's got a great channel. He's got an unbelievable PCB collection. I'm talking hundreds. He's a lovely guy. He's helped me out a hell of a lot, and he showed me how to wrap these, and I followed it by the book, and it turned out all right. I had a few mishaps, you know, some of the corners of the PCBs are sticking out, but in the end I got there in the end, and I'm quite pleased of how it's turned out. So yeah, have a look at this, guys. This is how you should wrap your PCBs if you're going to use this stuff. So there you go, how to wrap a PCB. I think it's pretty cool. Right, pickups, guys, pickups. Right, one seller on eBay was selling some lovely Mega Drive games. 6 all in all. I've got off one seller, and they're all in mint condition and all very reasonable price. I think pretty much the going rate, no less, no more. But they're in fantastic condition. I thought, you know what, I've got to get these. These are fantastic games for the Mega Drive. Except maybe this one. Actually, I'm a bit confused with this one. Although I did get a little bit further today when I was playing. It's Thunder Force 2. I did wonder what happened to Thunder Force 1. I think it only came out on computer, didn't it? So this is the first Thunder Force game that got a console release. I think all the rest were on Japanese computers. I don't know if there's any way of playing Thunder Force, the original. I don't know. I'd like to see how it plays and what it's like, because this one is a cross between a top-down game like Bosconian, or yeah, it is like Bosconian. It's very similar to Bosconian. I was going to say Time Pilot, but it's not. You've got to destroy stations, and I couldn't work out what to do first because you're in a kind of sandbox area, and you can't get out of that area until you've destroyed all of the space stations or enemy bases. But I couldn't work that out. I didn't know what you had to do. And then once you've destroyed them, it takes a little gate opens and you can move into the next area, which I thought was pretty cool. And then it swaps into a kind of like a side-scrolling shoot 'em up. Obviously, this is a very early game for the Mega Drive, so it doesn't look as good as the later ones. But still, with the variation in the gameplay, I highly rate this game. It's really, really good because it's got that old school arcade top-down Bosconian feel, as well as kind of like Gradius side-scrolling. So yeah, fantastic game. And then we've got Thunder Force 3. This is a fantastic game as well. I think all of these are. I haven't got 4 yet. There is 4. I don't have that yet, but this looks absolutely amazing. It really does. The end of level bosses look great. It's in fantastic condition. So this doesn't have the top-down view. This is purely a side-scrolling shooter, and probably one of the best on the Mega Drive. Chuffed to get that. And then we got Shadow Dancer. This is a tough as nails game. It really is, but I'm enjoying it because I like tough games. It feels and plays a lot like Rolling Thunder, but I think there's a lot more going for this game than Rolling Thunder. Yeah, it's cool. Really, really cool. Again, lovely box. Beautiful condition. Look at the artwork on that. So yeah, really chuffed to get that. And then this one, didn't think I'd pick this one up because I've got the arcade PCB. I played the Super NES version, which wasn't great. It was a bit bare. There's not a lot going in the SNES version. But everyone says the Mega Drive is pretty faithful. So I picked Raiden Trad up. Or Raiden. Raiden Trad. Yeah, and it plays really good. Although, you know, I wouldn't say half. 20% of the screen's taken up by guff, really. Just stuff on the side. I don't think you need half that stuff. So the playing field is quite small, but still, it's better than the SNES version. I'll give it that. I don't normally say that, but it is better than the SNES version. And then we got, is it Twin Hawk? I can't pronounce the Japanese name, but yeah, I think it's Twin Hawk. It's a tower plan game. I played through this. It's okay. It gets a little bit boring, if I'm brutally honest. Enemies are pretty much the same. Yeah, it just doesn't really grab me that much. It's okay. It's a mediocre game. But still, a shooter that I wanted for the Mega Drive. The sort of games I go back to, a lot of the shooters, a lot of the action platformers. I'm not going to go back and play RPGs. I haven't got the time for all of that, even though some of the RPGs on the Mega Drive have fantastic box art. It's tempting just to buy them for the box art. We've got Tatsujin. Now this is very, very cool. I think you'd all agree. If you haven't played this though, it is awesome. It's definitely a must for the Mega Drive collection. Great game. I love the graphics of this game. It's bold, it's colourful, it pops. It's a tower plan game. It reminds me very much of, when I think of tower plan games, I always think of Outzone. Outzone's my favourite tower plan game. And it's got those kind of graphics, very garish colours, which I like. They just pop. So yeah, super cool game. So that lot was all from one seller. So I'm slowly building the Mega Drive collection back up again. I'll probably end up with about 60 games, 60 of my favourite games. The same with the Super Nintendo. And then I popped into Retro Games HQ in Swindon and saw my mate Pete, who runs that shop. He's got a fantastic setup in that shop. If you're ever in Swindon, go and check out Retro Games HQ. Yeah, it's just the displays. All the games are in fantastic display cabinets. He's got downstairs is a music shop. They sell guitars, they sell vinyl. Right at the back, Pete's got his little bit. It's a family business. It's called Holmes Music Store. But Pete's got his little bit at the back, and he's got also a floor upstairs as well. I used to have bass lessons upstairs. It's a cool setup. He's got some fantastic games, and I like to support physical shops. I don't mind paying an extra, I don't know, 10%, to be honest with you, if it keeps these shops going, because I love having a rummage. I much prefer that than going on eBay and looking at games. I like to go into a physical shop, hold the games, and have a look at the condition. So first game that I brought in there was a bit of a curiosity, really. It's called Slime World. I think I remember this on a handheld console, and I can't remember what it was. Can you remember what that was, guys? I'm sure it was on the... I don't think it was a Nintendo. It wouldn't have been a Nintendo one. It was on a handheld console from the early 90s. I remember playing it on that. It's got a fantastic box art. I do love the box art on this. I don't think this got a European release. It only got a Japanese and Genesis release, North American. I've played a bit of it. It's kind of like a cavern explorer. I wouldn't say Metroidvania, but the only problem I found with it, it's a bit floaty. I didn't like the floatiness in the character, and the level's all a bit samey. But it's all right. It's all right. It's an odd game. It's a really odd game. Definitely worth a try, even if you've got an emulator. Give it a go. It's called Slime World. So I got that from Retro Games HQ. And Atomic Robo Kid. I've had this before. I quite enjoy this. This is above average kind of shooter. It's a little bit clunky, but I do like it. I do like returning to this game, and I think it is a must for the collection. Now the next game, guys, this one I've been looking forward to getting for ages. Oh, it must be a year. I've been trying to get this at a decent price and in good condition. And it's an arcade game that I used to play in my local arcade shop, Dazzle in Twickenham. It is Rolling Thunder 2, the Japanese version. Look at this. Look at the box art on that, guys. Isn't that awesome? It's such a cool game. The presentation of this game is just top notch. It's just one of those games you want to have on with the attract screen going in the background while you're just potting around. It's just super cool. The characters are cool. The levels designs are challenging, but I like it. It is a memory game, a bit like Ghosts and Goblins. The more you play, the more you remember where everything is and the further you get. It is a super cool game. I'm so chuffed to get this for the Mega Drive. Such a cool game. Next up, we got Rambo 3. This is an okay game. I mean, I find the levels a little bit sparse. The graphics are quite basic for the Mega Drive. I think they could do a little bit more. You've got some that sort of the end of level bosses, the cutscenes where it kind of goes third person perspective is really cool. I'd like to have seen more of that, and the Mega Drive is capable of doing more than that. Because you've got Rambo shooting helicopters with his explosive arrows, which is really cool. But the gameplay's mechanic is really kind of like a maze game, really. But you've got loads of weapons at your disposal. You've got a knife attack, which is limitless. You've got machine gun, limitless ammo. And then you've got like a time bomb that you can blow up jeeps and lookout towers. And you've also got... what else is there? I think actually that's it. That's probably it. But yeah, there's a lot going for it. It just graphically, it doesn't look that impressive, but still a good game to play. And then we've got Curse. I think I just brought this for the box art. It's super cool box art, but the game's a bit mediocre. Yeah, it's a funny one. It's a bit flickery. I don't know what it is about it. But it just don't connect. It doesn't feel responsive. I don't know. I think it's the connection with the game. I'm lacking a connection with the game. I don't know whether it's because the sound's not great. But yes, it's an okay shooter, side-scrolling shooter. But I do love the box art. Totally out there, isn't it? Totally out there. Very cool. So that is all my Mega Drive games. I'm really chuffed with all of those. That's really getting my collection back up again. And as I said earlier, I want to get my top 60 odd games, which is basically all I can fit on that shelf. So that means down the line, once I've got my 60, I'll still be probably picking more up, but I want to take ones that I don't play anymore, sell them on, and move the ones that I do play back in. That's the plan. We're constantly refining the collection, guys. It's a constant evolution. That's what it's about. Right, we've got NES games. Right, this bloody NES game that Lee Retro Chef has been going on about for me to get. Roller games. I finally got it. It turned up in a crappy box, all beaten and busted. Look at the state of that. I need to do a tootie on that and iron that out. But do you know what? I'm not really a NES box collector. I'm just after loose games and wanted to give this a go. I haven't had it given it a go yet, Lee, because I either need to clean the edge connector or get a new pin connection on the NES because it's not firing up any of my games at the moment. I don't know why. Probably just needs a clean. But I am looking forward to playing that. I really am. And then we've got this weird one. This is a USA, because my NES is modded to play PAL and North American games. Codename Viper. Saw the video on this. This looks really good. Really good game. Nice cart art. Got to be careful how you say that. But yeah, it's a run and gun, platform action game, which I love. Really cool. Did this get a PAL release, do you know, guys? Because obviously I would rather have it on PAL, but am I going for a complete PAL collection? I don't know. I'll tell you in a couple of weeks, because I've got a big bundle I'm going to be picking up very, very soon. And this game I've owned in the past, North and South. I love this game. A little top-down, well, it's isometric kind of strategic battle game. Love it. I love North and South. When I did Martin's game room tour, I saw this in his collection. I think he had it on the Amiga, which reminded me I need to get this for the NES, and I finally got it back again. So loving that. Really, really cool. And then this was a bit of a bargain. So I had a sneaky bid on eBay and won these for like 25 quid. This was the game I really wanted, Cybernoid. And I just gobsmacked at the condition of these for 25 quid. Excuse me, guys. I got football, NES Play Action Football, which I've got no interest in at all. It's American football. I don't know if that's PAL. I think it is PAL. But anyways, it's got a lovely box protector. But this game I wanted to get, Cybernoid. Yeah. This looks like a really cool space game. A little bit like, what is that game? Can't remember the game. Anyway, I was going to say Thrust, but it's not Thrust. Very similar to Thrust. Game by Rare. Developed a game for the NES. But anyway, it's in amazing condition. In amazing condition. Look at this. Look at the condition for this. Both these games for 25 quid. There are bargains out there, guys. So it looks like now I'm an NES box collector as well. Cardboard collector. I didn't think I was going to do that. But I can't just take the cart. Well, I guess I could sell the box on. But that is super cool. Super cool game. Look, there's the artwork on the back. But yeah, fantastic condition. Look at that. Manual in there. Lovely little manual. Got a little sticker on there I have to take off. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing that one. That was the one I was after. I can't remember where I saw it, but I was interested to pick that one up. Right, that is all the NES games. I do have some Switch games. I've got Raiden 5. Is it 5? Yeah, I think it is. Just trying to get all the Raiden games on the Switch. Is that Raiden 4? I don't think that's a very good one. And then this new one, Raiden Nova. which isn't very good, guys. I don't recommend it at all. It is a twin stick shooter, top down, and I found it very, very boring and very, very easy. Maybe I had it on too easy, but didn't grab me at all. Didn't grab me at all. So yeah, I will definitely try it before you buy it, guys, on that one. That's it on the Switch. I do have a Spectrum game. Where did I see this? Oh yeah, that was it. So I did a live video last week. I couldn't upload it because I had pop music in the background. I've learned from my mistakes. I ain't doing that again. We're just going to have games in the background. And I was playing the Neo Geo. I was playing Viewpoint, and that's an isometric shooter. And someone said in the comments it looks very similar to Highway Encounter on the Spectrum. And I had this eureka moment where I was just like, oh my God, I remember that. I used to have that. So I went through my whole Spectrum collection, couldn't find it anywhere. It was probably a game I pirated back in the day. So I did a tape to tape on an old Get a Blaster, went round to my mates, copied it from his version and played it that way. But then when I saw this was in Retro Games HQ in Swindon. He had it in there and he gave this to me for free. That's the sort of guy Pete is. He said, just have this. And it's Highway Encounter by Vortex. So it's an isometric shooter where you're kind of directing these little robots around the environment. Very cool game. Well, at least I remember it. I haven't probably played this for 35, 40 years. Was the last time I played this. So I am really excited to play this again. This is going to bring back loads of childhood memories, guys, because the Sinclair Spectrum 48K was my first gaming computer stroke console at home. So I've got really fond memories of playing the Spectrum back in the day. So yeah, that's it on all the games. I do have some vinyl now, but I'm just going to have a little bit of a break.
Well, don't just stand there, man. Get it out! Get it out!
Right, onto the vinyl. So much to show you this week. It's all good though. I haven't done this for a while, have I? I haven't done a pickups video for such a long time. Right, I'm really getting into my vinyl. I'm loving my vinyl. I've got two great record shops right where I live. I've got the one in Swindon, the one I just mentioned, Retro Games HQ, also known as Holmes Music Store because it's like a dual shop. I've also got a record shop in Wantage, which is really reasonably priced. And there's a record fair as well in Wantage that I go to once every couple of months. So I do get some really good deals. This was one of my favourites back in the day. It's Aha, Hunting High and Low. I got this for £5. Plays brilliantly. I've got fond memories of Aha because they filmed The Sun Always Shines on TV at St Albans Church in Teddington, which is where I went to school. Went to Teddington School, which was an all-boys school back then. But they did start to introduce girls in the last 2 years of my time at that school. So there were a lot of girls that were into Aha back in the day. And when we found out that they were filming at St Albans Church, the video to The Sun Always Shines on TV, we all bowled down there and watched it. And it was a fantastic day. It was a lovely summer, hot summer's day. And just fond memories of just seeing the band coming out and getting absolutely mobbed by youngsters. But yeah, fantastic album. We used to see a lot of that at school because we had Thames Studios just down the road from our school. So they used to film the Benny Hill show. We used to watch Benny Hill filming in the tennis courts. In fact, he lived, well, we used to pass Benny Hill's flat every day on the way home from school. We used to see him a hell of a lot. And what else did they film in there? Tiz was, Mr. Bean, loads of stuff, loads of stuff. It's all gone now, it's all been knocked down. Michael Heseltine got in there and did his usual thing, made luxury apartments out of it all, which I found really disgusting, but there you go. Let's not get into that. But yeah, it's just a shame. All the plaques were there because you had all the famous stars, like Sid James, he had a plaque there. Benny Hill had a plaque, they've all gone. All the plaques have gone. So there's no history there of Thames Studios at all now, which is a crying shame. It really is a crying shame. But yeah, fond memories of Aha back in the day. One of my favourite bands of all time, The Doors, first album, self-titled album, The Doors. Oh, you know, when I was sort of 19 to 25, that's all I listened to was The Doors. read loads of sort of beatnik books, Jack Kerouac and On the Road and loads of stuff. You know, wanted to be Jim Morrison back in the day. Had the hair, had everything, you know, just loved the band. I really loved the Doors music. So that was cool to get. Gary Newman, I remember this when this came out. God, this was like, he was called the Alien, wasn't he? He looked alien. He looked like nothing we've ever seen on Top of the Pops before. When he came on and did Cars with the neon lights in the background, it was just wow. He got criticised a lot for well, a lot by the music press. They said basically this wasn't music because it was all done electronically on synthesizers, you know, which was the new thing. So he got cussed a lot for this. But of course now it's, I mean, you know, everything's done by AI. You know, it's crazy how it's moved on. But yeah, what a fantastic album. Standout tracks on here. The Observer, Cars, Films and Metal. Just great album. Really, really cool. And then I've got some arcade soundtracks. I never thought I'd get these, but as I'm collecting vinyl, I had to get these. These were all on eBay, again from one seller. Got a great deal on all of these. They've all been used and opened, but I don't mind that. They've been well looked after. Got Streets of Rage. And these are fantastic soundtracks to just listen to while you're potting around, you know. It's nothing too loud, raucous or anything. It's just nice background music with a bit of a nostalgia going on as well for you. Really, really cool. You get a bit of artwork in there as well, look, which is nice, which you can frame, which I've actually done with one of them. I've got, I don't know if you can see up there in the corner there, Space Harrier, which is my next piece of vinyl I'm going to show you. This is probably actually one of my favourites out of all of these. This is a fantastic soundtrack. It takes me right back. It's got a nice hologram effect going on as well on the front. How cool is that? Every song on here is brilliant. Really, really good. It brings back so many memories. Yeah, it's really nice. It's on a vinyl like that, which is super cool as well, which kind of glows as well under the black light. Really chuffed with that. And then we got Shinobi, Revenge of Shinobi. Haven't played this one yet. I want to play the game actually before I play this. That's what I want to get, the game, and then play this one. And then we've got Golden Axe. Blimey, this brings back loads of memories. This was my brother's favourite game, Golden Axe 1 and 2 on the Mega Drive. So when I was sitting there playing Mario Kart and Street Fighter, he was in his room playing Golden Axe, saying how much it was better than the Super Nintendo. But yeah, again, I want to play the games before I start listening to some of this. And then the last one, I had to get this because I miss my arcade. I had the arcade in here. It's a great game. One of my favourite Sega games actually is Super Hang-On. And this again, it's got a fantastic soundtrack. It really has. What a brilliant game. Sega at its best in the arcade, wouldn't you agree? That era of super scalers, just absolutely awesome. You know what, guys? I'm coming round to the idea of actually owning an Outrun. I've never owned an Outrun. I would like an Outrun in there at one point. That isn't one of my Grail cabs, by the way, but I wouldn't mind an Outrun at one point. But yeah, that is it on all my pickups, guys. Now, before we go, I just want to give a few shout outs to some channels, which I'm going to do more often, because I do watch a lot of YouTube channels, and I just want to give these guys a shout out. First of all, Nick Red7, fantastic guy. I really like Nick's channel. He does a lot of arcade pickups, gameplays, reviews, and that kind of thing. I'll put links to all these channels in the video below. Dell at Delusions Arcade over in the States. I love what Dell does. He's a top bloke. Really good channel if you're into arcade restorations and stuff like that. Dave Shump Pilot 79. I love Dave. Such a good guy. I want to get him around here actually. He's got some games I want. But he's just been uploading videos of his collections. So he's just got them all out of the loft. I think he's moved house recently. He's going through all his Mega Drive, his SNES collection. He's got a fantastic collection. and a good channel as well. So it's good to see Shump Pilot 79 back on the tubes. And of course, Lee, Retro Chef, because he started up the swap shop again, which I was on, and I'm on again this Sunday. So if you want to see some stuff that I've got up for sale, check out Retro Chef's channel, the swap shop, which will be live this Sunday, which is really cool. Well, that's it for this week's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to include at the end of this video some footage at EAG, because I haven't had a chance to upload that video. I never got a chance. So I'm just going to tag this all in at the end. It's a montage of clips of me having a walk around at EAG. It wasn't that great this year. That's probably why I didn't get the inspiration to do a video on it. I found a lot of the cabs quite mediocre, very samey. I mean, there was Sega there, Electrocoin were there, and Namco were there, and you'd think all of those arcade machines had come out of the same factory in China. They all looked the same. There was a few pinball machines there I enjoyed. There was Dungeons and Dragons. That was all right, but I did think a lot of the artwork on it looked AI generated, even though it's not. It's done by Dungeons and Dragons artists. But I was really excited to play Dungeons and Dragons, and it didn't help probably that they had the volume down for all of the pinball machines, so you couldn't really get connected with the game, because you know, you're looking at the playing field, then you're looking up at the screen, and it's prompting you to go back down the playing field. But if you can't hear your prompts, you don't look down, so you kind of get lost. So these places are not always the ideal scenario to see what a game's like. You know, they put these here for people to play, but if they're not turning the volume up, how do we know? You know, it's stupid. But there was some other cool games there that I really enjoyed. I think was it Pulp Fiction? That was really good, and some others. So that's all in a little montage at the end of this video. But that's it for this week's video, guys. I'm sorry about the live feed. It didn't get uploaded, but I've learnt my lesson. We'll sort that out for next time. That's it for this video. It's been long enough. Thanks for all my new subs. Thanks for everyone that follows me. And I'll see you on the next one. So EAG is the Entertainment Attractions Gaming Expo. It happens every year. It's not a public event. It is a corporate event, so really you need to go and represent a company. I mean, I've represented Nintendo Arcade, Owls Arcade, and the Arcade Archive over the years. You can make anything up to go along, but it is not open to the public. It's purely a corporate event, but it's super easy to go along to. This happens every year. It's been happening for the last 70 years. In fact, if you would have gone back 40 years, you would have seen all those classic games that we love from that era at this event. Obviously, it's changed venues. This is at the Excel now in London. It's a great event. It's just an excuse for us guys to meet up and play the latest games, in the hope that we will see something groundbreaking in the video section. But this year was a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you. It all seemed a bit samey. A lot of gun games, and a lot of the arcade machines looked like they come out of the same factory in China. There was nothing, you couldn't tell the difference between Sega, Namco and Electrocoin. They all look the same. But you know, it's still quite fun. I still enjoy playing and meeting up with a lot of my mates. This game here, Moto Blitz DX, is a motorbike game. I do love my motorbike games. This is super cool. But you know, you've played one, you kind of played them all. There's not a lot of difference between a lot of these games. They all kind of do the same thing, trick based. You know, get around the track as fast as you can. But it is a lot of fun with other players. You know, on a rainy day in the arcade down by the beach, they're you know, a great waste of time. And then also Alan Meads was there, the author of Arcade Britannia, who came down to the Arcade Archive a year ago. He had his Arcade Britannia virtual arcade machine set up so you could tour an 80s arcade on the arcade machine. And George Wilson had this beautiful book called The Tales from the Arcade, which has got loads of black and white pictures from the 80s era, 70s and 80s era of the classic arcades that we had here in the UK. Some fantastic pictures that I really would love to get myself prints of and framed up in my arcade, because it brings back so many fond memories. This was great to see. This really added a lot of nostalgia to what is a very modern event. Out of all the video games that were showcased at EAG, I think we had the most fun playing the skill-based games, the simplest of games. Check this one out, it's called Duck Derby. It's a killer on the arm, but oh my God, did we have a laugh playing this game. See how good you are pulling points, eh? Having 20% Scandinavian DNA in my blood, I thought I'd give this one a go. It's called Axe Master. See how good my Viking skills are.
Wait for the target to clear. Wait for the target to clear. Wait for the target to clear. Round one. Throw. You got a stick. Nice. Red. Final axe.
What a pro. Look at that.
Wait for the target to clear.
What a pro.
Wait for the target to clear.
He's thrown axes at people before.
Wait for the target to clear.
He's a dangerous man.
Darts has come a long way since I used to watch it on TV. It used to be all drinking, all smoking with Eric Bristow. Now you've got these machines here, which I would imagine are very popular because you can play online with people all around the world. This would be a great addition to any private arcade. Gun games are always great to play, especially if you've got a physical target. And this one here, it's called Fast Gunman, remind me of Nintendo's Wild Gunman, is really good. It's really responsive, nice feedback on the gun. I really enjoy playing this. They had some fantastic pinball machines on show this year. In fact, this is where I spent probably most of my time because I wanted to play the new Dungeons & Dragons pinball, which played great. It's just a shame that the volume was turned right down. But I loved that. The animatronics on the dragon was really cool. My favourite probably was Pulp Fiction. Going back to the more basic gameplay, but yeah, it's really, really good. Fantastic pinballs. And this is probably where we spent most of our time. Well, that's it for this week's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on the next one.
You ready?
Lucky.